You know, every once in a while on this segment at KTAR.com, I say, what's it like? And usually it's to somebody that I haven't met, and I'm going to hear the answer for the first time. In this case, I know some of the answers because I've been asking this of Paola Boivin for the last, how many years have you been in the sports department at the Arizona Republic?
I've been there, almost 25 years?
So what's it like being, and I have to say it this way, the girl in the sports department of the Arizona Republic? There are many now, but when you first started, I think you were alone, weren't you?
I was, and actually there aren't many now, Pat. There's a few of us.
You got somebody covering the Coyotes.
Yes, Sarah McClellan, who's
Yeah.
a fantastic writer. And then we have some people working sort of behind the scenes. But there are not many still. It's reflective of the business.
But compare the attitude
Okay.
of what I always think of as the grizzled print reporter guys, the columnists, the newspaper guys, then and now welcoming you.
Oh, it's a world of difference. And there were a lot of good people along the way when I first started, but there's definitely a collection of people at the paper even, not just the paper, but obviously readers who really struggled with the idea of a woman knowing sports. And I mean, I got those stereotypical emails of, go back to the kitchen. I'm like, which I'm a horrible cook, so that part is funny to begin with.
But not anymore, though.
No, but
You seem like maybe you're saying there's an occasional one.
There's an occasional, but frankly, I mean, I used to get these emails or these calls that said, you're a woman and an idiot who knows nothing about sports. And now I just get, you're an idiot who knows nothing about the sports. I'm like, yes, I've made progress. That's where it's gone. So it's a lot better.
Helen Reddy would be so proud.
I know.
All right, who is it as a group that you have the most difficulty with getting past that gender block? The press, the jocks themselves, the coaches?
I would say certainly not the press. I mean, I think everyone's accustomed to it and very accepting and supportive of it. I would say there are probably some coaches and managers, and not so much in this town. This city has been amazing to me and treated me well. But over the years, sometimes you feel it's generational. The players are used to women walking in the clubhouse, walking in the locker room. But there are coaches who are 50, 60, 70 years old who never saw that in their career. And so there is sometimes a condescending answer that I would ask that maybe another male reporter might ask that wouldn't get that same response.
When was the first time you walked into a locker room?
Actually, at the University of Illinois. I was covering college football, the Fighting Illini, and I was the first woman to do it there, but they were all prepared, and so I didn't have an issue. My first issue just came maybe 2 years out of college. I was working in LA, walked into the Dodger Stadium's visitors clubhouse. They were playing the St. Louis Cardinals, and I went in looking for this athlete, and I felt something hit my shoulder, and someone had thrown a jock at me. And in fact, it had landed on my shoulder, which was really embarrassing, so I had to kind of do this. And then a guy came storming up to me and said, are you here to interview someone, or are you here to look at a bunch of guys? And used a not so nice word.
But that just would never happen anywhere in sports now, would it?
No, there would be no tolerance for it, which is great. I mean,
would you go right to the front office if it did?
Yeah, I'd probably go right in the face of the player. I wouldn't have 20, 30 years ago, but I would do that now. These guys are now trained to be prepared for women coming into the locker room. Some players are issued towels to wear, although none of them do. So there's much better preparation now.
And it probably isn't something that you carry home as a fond memory, new jocks wandering through the locker room.
No.
I always keep thinking, do they really think that the female reporters are doing courtroom sketches of some kind,
It's so funny because there's probably few things as disgusting as a locker room, particularly a hockey locker room, because of the smell.
I've heard the aroma.
It is unbelievable. I mean, and the athletes are fantastic, but the smell is just beyond. You just want to charge out of there. You want hazmat to come spray you down.
Could we recognize for all of the hockey fans, and particularly all of our friends from Canada, that you are not reflecting in any way on the antiseptic condition of the players themselves?
No, right. That is correct. It is not the athletes. In fact, they are some of the best to deal with. We always talk about dealing with hockey players. But after they've been skating, Pat, the uniforms, the pads, they just smell awful.
Here's something that I got to wrap this up because we could talk, of course, for the rest of the entire hour, but they won't let me. Gays in professional sports, constant headlines,
Right.
interviews everywhere, controversies, debates, but not lesbians in women's sports. Why?
Well, one, because I think women have been so starved to get attention from the media that they've always gone out of their way. The WNBA, any female sport will go out of their way to help you get your interview. So a lot of times you don't even have to go in locker rooms because they're like, basically chasing you down the hall to agree to an interview.
But a lesbian athlete, nobody writes about.
Yeah, well, it's sort of indicative of our society that there's sort of this cute fascination with lesbians, if we're being honest, right? But when it comes, society, for whatever reason, has a more difficult time accepting.
All right, so the next show will be what's it like
gosh.
to be a lesbian that has never asked for an interview. This is Pat McMahon, that's Paola Boivin, and you know who you are. You're the person who's watching KTAR.com.